Counselor Romero Worth,
Yes.
Councilwoman Villarreal,
Yes.
Counselor Cassett,
Yes.
Counselor Chavez,
Yes.
Counselor Lee Garcia,
Yes.
Counselor Michael Garcia,
Yes.
Counselor Lindell, Counselor Rivera,
Yes.
Mayor Weber.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you very much. So communications from the governing body. Counselor Chavez, you have the floor. We'll just go down the line.
Thank you, Mayor. The only thing I have tonight, which is very exciting, is the youth symposium. I believe everyone received invites for lunch. I hope you can go and meet some of our youth. So it is middle school on Thursday from 9 to 2, high school on Friday 9 to 2, and then all students who weren't able to participate in Thursday and Friday can attend the teen center on Saturday, and there's going to be similar discussions that are taking place. This was put together by Ryan Stinnett and his team, Melissa Bustos, and the Mayor's Youth Advisory Board. They picked the speakers, they picked the topics, have been working on receiving training and facilitating conversations with their peers. It was a lot of work. They've been working on it for more than half the year, I think. This discussion for the youth symposium has carried over from years already, last year. But it's really exciting. I think the partnership with the rail yard is awesome. It always excites me to get our youth from different parts of Santa Fe downtown, because most people don't realize this, but we have many youth members that never get to actually enjoy downtown and access it easily. So it was very important to me that, you know, we do have great facilities everywhere. Geneva Chavez, we have great facilities, but it was important that we were able to bring youth to what is the heart of Santa Fe. Many of them don't get to experience it. And so thank you to the rail yard. The rail yard has worked with trying to coordinate this. They're actually going to be the venue for the youth symposium. So the students will actually be able to explore the rail yard as they go from session to session. So it's going to be an exciting experience for them. I hope to see you guys there. I will be popping in and out because I will also be at my school those 2 days. But if you can make it, that would be really great. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Rivera, sir. Yeah. Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Garcia.
Nothing this evening, just hopefully everybody enjoys the solar eclipse on Saturday.
Good reminder. Councilwoman Villarreal.
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to recognize the Santa Fe Indigenous Center and their amazing feat to put together the first ever Honoring Native Nations powwow. They organized that in 3 months. And so it took a lot of their staff and volunteers to make that happen. So just wanted to give them a shout out to making a space for Native people that is for and by Native people and Indigenous people. And also a big shout out to the city staff support, and just greatly appreciate the work that they do to support events on the plaza. And also just wanted to let the public know, in honor of or celebration of Hispanic Heritage Month, Hecho and New Mexico Wild will be hosting a presentation by Hilario Romero, who's a historian, and he'll be presenting about culturas indígenas, mexicanas, and españolas. And it's a discussion presentation that will take place this Friday, October 13th from 5:30 to 7:30 at Genoveva Chavez Community Center. And should be interesting, some interesting facts and histories about our community here locally. Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Lindell.
Thank you, Mayor. It figures that John Blair came out before I did. Probably not chronologically, but thank you, John, for bringing up National Coming Out Day. It's actually the theme this year is come out against hate. And seems like everybody could embrace that. Coming out is a powerful act. Living an authentic life in a world that tells us to be quiet. And coming out can be really, really hard for people. based on fear of their interpersonal relationships, their institutional relationships. And I would encourage everyone to, you see someone struggling with that, help them out a little bit, make it a little easier for them. It's hard. It's hard. At the time when I came out, it wasn't particularly in vogue. My family was devastated. We went through some super hard times, but here's the thing, we're everywhere. Every family's got us. You might as well try to get along rather than fight about it. It's not going to go away. So I appreciate you bringing it up, John. It's a big deal. That's all I've got, Mayor.
Councilor Mayor Worth.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, John and City Manager Blair and Councilor Lindell for your words, your bravery, your setting an example. I mean, I don't think that's easy. And as you've both noted, it's important. So appreciate it. Also want to shout out to the first powwow on the plaza, to all involved, city staff, local nonprofits, local community members, people who may not be members of this community who traveled to make it a success. I think it's an incredible I don't want to call it an event, just an incredible moment, I guess, for this community, and really just want to send congratulations. That's all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Cassett.
Thank you, Mayor. I also do want to recognize the celebration on the plaza on Indigenous Peoples' Day and the first powwow on the plaza. I was able to be there in the morning. And it really was just a very special event, and really, seeing the joy in a lot of the individuals who were there. I had a wonderful conversation with a gentleman who he makes drums, and we needed to find something to entertain Tiny Human, and he was really nice to let him bang on everything. But he was talking about all these incredible experiences that he had. He had been a lieutenant governor of Cochiti, and just sharing those stories and hearing, what this meant to him and his family. It was really beautiful. So thank you to everybody, and to the Indigenous Center and all the city staff that were there. Really just an incredible celebration. I also wanted to give a couple shout outs to staff. When we had a Calle Cedros, Camino Chueco, this area of the neighborhood along Camino Carlos Rey, they had been experiencing some public safety concerns, and the neighborhood really gathered together to want to create a neighborhood watch, but it has started to really turn into something more as this neighborhood looks at different ways that they can reconnect with each other and find ways to improve their community, improve the neighborhood. I'm really excited to see how this continues to grow. But our police department was able to join us at a meeting and discuss, setting up a neighborhood watch, really answering a lot of questions about what to do when they feel that there is some type of threat to danger, when to call 911, when to call the non-emergency line, what this starts to look like. And I think that the community really appreciated having that understanding of the processes and what tools they should be utilizing, as well as us, as always, getting feedback on areas that we need to continue to work to improve. So really want to thank both that neighborhood for coming out and really for organizing this, as well as our police department. And then also, I want to recognize our Parks Department regarding Pueblo Del Sol. If you guys remember, we allocated $500,000 to renovate this park. This was frequently known as the Wooden Park. It was built of wood 20 years ago. It does not sustain the Santa Fe climate very well. So, the park was falling apart. There was splinters everywhere and rusty screws and nails. And so we are doing a full renovation of this park, and the feedback from the community was really well listened to, and the proposals that are coming forward. So really just wanted to recognize the Parks Department and their work there. And I know that the neighborhood is very appreciative. I got to see former Counselor Harris there as well, because he had also worked on this park. So that's always wonderful when I get a chance to see him. And then last but not least, I want to wish a very happy birthday to my brother Brian. His birthday was yesterday. Unfortunately, he had the flu for his birthday. So hopefully he'll get some time to celebrate later, but at least he did get some time to relax, which is not something he does very well. It runs in the family. So hopefully he gets to celebrate soon. That's all.
Thank you. Counselor Lee Garcia, sir.
Mayor, having nothing tonight. Thank you.
Counselor, yes, Counselor Rivera.
Before you go, I wanted to bring up just one thing for Geraldine. Councilwoman Cassett had put in a request to be a co-sponsor on item L. I forgot to pull it off to say that, but it's something that happens every year, and I think Alan would appreciate knowing that he has someone that sponsored it before to be able to move it year to year. So
Thank you, Counselor.
co-sponsoring that. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Good catch. I have a few matters to share that are really positive things to talk about, folks. I am delighted to share with everyone that Julie Sanchez and Kyle Morgan have baby David. And that's a wonderful news to share of a new community member joining us, and so happy for them. And I know Julie's relieved that that David has joined us, and happy to be adding to the family. Another great event over the weekend was the wedding of Chef Fernando and Melanie Cole, which two outstanding people in our community who add so much to Santa Fe, and they had a wonderful wedding that was just a sweet gathering. Indigenous Peoples Day, I have to add my own just very powerful appreciation to the community, both the Native community and all who came to watch and enjoy and support the powwow. It was historic, as all of the Native dancers and the organizers said. It was a first for Santa Fe, and it proceeded with great spirit and peace, and everyone just had a wonderful time and a great celebration. The Indigenous Center did work overtime to make it happen. The last day of Balloon Fiesta, folks, 10/17. You want to do it, now's the time. I also want to salute Counselor Chavez on the youth symposium that she mentioned. It's a big deal. Opening the Teen Center was a statement of our commitment to the young people in our community. This symposium adds to that sense that we are deeply invested in the future of our young people, and that symposium is a lot of work to put it together. Counselor Chavez has been instrumental. The city team has been hard at work to make it a really constructive engagement, and I'm eager to see what our young people tell us based on that. There will be a viewing party for the solar eclipse on Saturday at the Southside Library from 10 a.m. to noon. Don't forget to bring your glasses, your solar glasses to protect your eyes. And finally, a big shout out to the dog park. This Sunday last was their first fundraiser. They don't really ask for much. They do a lot. But a few facts that everybody may not know about our dog park. It is the 6th largest dog park in the world. It is the 3rd in the largest in the country, and an average of 650 people and an almost triple that or quadruple that number of dogs visit it every single day. It is an attraction that we don't even really talk about, but on Google, Yelp, Bring Fido, All Trails, TripAdvisor, and Foursquare, it ranks 4.5 or higher as a reason for people to want to enjoy Santa Fe with their pups. It is probably our heaviest used park, and the folks who actually take a great deal of pride in it, do it as volunteers, and this fundraiser just is a celebration of how great the dog park really is and what an attraction it is. And I can tell you that on behalf of Pico and Caffey, they're grateful to the dog park folks who make it happen. Madam Clerk, I think we're going to take petitions from the floor now. It's about 5 after, or 1 or 2 after 7. I know we've got folks here in the room, and I know we've got folks probably on Zoom as well. If people want to come to the podium and address the governing body on anything other than the public hearings tonight, if you have a subject not related to the public hearings, now would be the time to step up. Give us your name, and the clerk will keep a clock of 2 minutes to try to make sure everybody gets a fair and equal chance to speak. And then after we do this room, we'll go to the Zoom. So please step up. You may have to hit that button.
Thank you, Mayor Weber, members of the council. My name is Greg Mello. I am the director of the Los Alamos Study Group. I no longer live in Santa Fe, although I did for 22 years. I first moved here in 1971, where I lived on the west side in the barrio. I would like to, first of all, remind the council of some resolutions that the council has passed in the past. And those numbers of those resolutions are 2003 64, 2005 39, 2006 104, 2008 17. There have been other resolutions. These resolutions speak to the question of the city's identity as a leader in nuclear disarmament and its identity as a city of peace. As the Santa Fe is a member of Mayors for Peace, so each successive mayor is a member of Mayors for Peace, and these resolutions, especially, and there are others that have occurred since then, these resolutions are notable because they categorically reject the idea, which was at that time only hypothetical, that Los Alamos National Laboratory would become a factory for weapons of mass destruction. That is now the program of record at Los Alamos National Laboratory. They're engaged in a multi-billion-dollar program that formally began in 2020 and will continue through the foreseeable future with aiming toward the production of up to 30 plutonium pits. I don't have a model here, but they're small objects made of plutonium. They'll cost in about $100 million a piece when all is said and done. We would like the council, and with the help of Councilor Villarreal and others on the council, bring forth another resolution for your consideration that would do two important things. And one would be to express the will of the city, re-express it against creating a factory for nuclear weapons in the greater Santa Fe area. Second, to oppose the incursion of classified national security work into the city of Santa Fe, which Los Alamos is contemplating.
Thank you, sir. Your time is up, but
Thank you. I
we
very much appreciate your attention.
your comments.
Yeah.
And if you want to give your full text to the clerk, that'd be fine.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Others in the room who'd like to be heard tonight, the floor is open. Madam Clerk, are there folks on the Zoom part of our program who'd like to be heard tonight?
Yes, there is, Mayor. The attendees on Zoom, if you'll raise your virtual hand, I'll call you by name.
Well, in the meantime, we have one more individual in the room who wants to come forward and speak. So we'll wait for you and then we'll go to the Zoom room. No rush. Take your time.
Mayor Weber, city councilors, thank you so much for letting me speak. My name is Willem Malton. I'm the owner of Cloudcliff Bakery. I was a baker here for many years. And I remember coming to New Mexico, first time sitting in a car with Richard Baker. Some of you may know him as Baker Roshi, the Zen master on Cerro Gordo. Anyway, we were talking about me living here in Santa Fe, and he was pointing out St. John's and other places. And then on the way back, he said, and there is Los Alamos. And he said, Los Alamos is the place where they created the first bomb that destroyed Hiroshima and the bomb that destroyed Nagasaki too in Japan. And so right then and there, I felt really shocked that nuclear weapons were still being produced in this state. And so I felt right then and there, I wanted to make a vow to resist all nuclear weapon production in New Mexico and now also in Santa Fe, New Mexico. So I'm asking you to take that vow together with me now to resist Los Alamos moving into Santa Fe, New Mexico, the holy city of St. Francis, and make a vow to resist nuclear weapons and making more nuclear weapons in Los Alamos. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Is there someone else who wishes to come forward at this time? The microphone is yours.
Mayor, council. I want to echo what Greg said.
Can we get your name, sir?
My
Sorry.
name is Shane Brown. I live here in Santa Fe, on Alto Street, right in the middle of it all. To echo something that Greg said, these resolutions that the city passed opposing all hit production and more nuclear arms was done at a pretty tense and heightened time of geopolitical conflict, similar to the ones we're in now. And I think that the seats that you're in, either as they may, this like local government seat has some pretty significant power on the world stage. And I encourage you to take courage in that power and to review those resolutions. And also pose a rhetorical question about the city's transparency about discussions that there may be going on with Flannel about its expansion into Santa Fe. It's said that that expansion, these branch campuses would be without radioactive research and without anything of high toxicity. what does that high toxicity mean? Whose standards are those? Will the city be transparent about that? And I think that's it. I think I want to leave it at that. Please consider all those things.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anyone else in this room before we go to the Zoom room for further petitions from the floor? Madam Clerk, why don't we open the petitions from the floor to the folks who are waiting in the Zoom room and have them raise their hands?
Okay, first we have Stephanie Benenato.
Stephanie Benenato, thank you very much. I was on the plaza a few times during this past weekend, and I felt that it was a really positive, very positive energy there. I was happy to see that happen. However, I just wonder why the city council has been sitting on its hands and talking about the office, the attorney's office as a black hole for legislation. It seems that if the city attorney can sort of stuff the legislation that you want to introduce, that it's a clear violation of separation of powers that the executive was just making a big deal about, but none of you have actually made a big deal about that. And since it's by rule, I'm wondering why it's taking so long and what would make it so hard to make the change. I also wonder, I just want to let you know that I really have a problem with the city attorney and what she did in the Lucchese case. You were told that the invoice that was part of the record was the date I made a payment, and you can all go back and find that. However, that was issued 5 days after I actually submitted the appeal, and the city attorney knowingly or negligently did not attach Ms. Guerrale's email that clearly said, now you have the bill, now you can go pay the filing fee or the appeal fee. That's a really different take than that was indicating that that's when I paid the fee. And it's that kind of leaving out parts of the ordinance that were even the parts of the subsections that were quoted, leaving that out is highly unethical. And I just want to bring it to your attention. And
Okay, we have Nira.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council people. In the words of Winston Churchill to his World War II British troops, never give up, never give up, never, never, never. And so I come before you with my mantra, no nukes, not now, not ever, not never. I think it's a travesty of justice to have Los Alamos building bombs, 30 bombs a year. I thought they were just 30 bombs, which was bad enough, but 30 bombs a year up there. There have been more than several contaminations occurring already. And I wonder not if, but when a true accident will occur. Lano says that they are incidents. However, I say they are accidents leading to the biggest accident of all. I just finished reading American Prometheus, the story of J. Robert Oppenheimer. Towards the end of his life, I know that he was very distressed that he had been cajoled into building that farm, and the remainder of his life was very sad as a result of that. So I'm here to ask you to please consider within what's ever remaining in your hearts and minds and souls for the continuation of humanity, both here in Santa Fe and across the world, because this is a world issue, to make the resolution, no bombs, no building of bombs, and redesign Lano to be a community center and a senior center and a youth center and a women in childcare center rather than a bomb center. Please look into your heart and minds and souls. Remember the pictures of Nagasaki and Hiroshima. If that was not a horrible distress, I don't know what is. And make that resolution. Thank you for your
Jean Nichols.
Okay, yes, and my one request will be, I just sent you all an email, so I'd like you to, read that when you get it. And my request is that you put the resolution that Greg Mello presented and brought to you on next meeting's agenda so that we can talk about it then. And, then I will bring up more of my concerns, which I included in your email, but please put it on your next meeting's agenda. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, there are no other hands raised in the, from the attendees in Zoom.
Okay, last, if anyone here in the room wants to come forward and speak about something other than the public hearings later, now's the time, or anyone in the Zoom room, one more opportunity if you have something you want to bring to the attention of the governing body. Okay, in that case, we go back to regular order, and I believe, Madam Clerk, that takes us to matters from the city attorney.
You're correct.
Madam City Attorney, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor, members, council members. I am pleased to announce we do have a new administrative manager coming into the city attorney's office. Her name is Amy Cawthon. She starts on Monday. Please stop by and say hello if you're nearby. She will have a huge uphill learning curve, which I was realizing as I took her around the building last week, introducing her to all the people that she will need to be working with. But I'm hoping maybe she and the mayor's new administrative assistant will be learning together along with some of the other administrative assistants starting in the city. So she will be taking on the initial contract intake in my office and working very closely with me and with Marcos Martinez and with our paralegals. That position supervises our 3 paralegals in the office as well. We are very, very, very close, I understand, to getting the policy analyst their final offer. So that's that. And then we're also about to post the position that previously was Jeff Norris's. So we are down to 1 out of 3 folks in the policy office. So thank you for your patience. We also hired 3 work-based learning high schoolers this week that we'll be working with between October and April this year, the continuation of the summer program. So we're excited about that. One will be probably in the policy office, one with the inspection of public records office, and one with the prosecutor's office. And we may do some rotation for those folks as well, so they can all experience all 3 offices. Based on some conversations over the last week or 2 since the last governing body meeting, I wanted to highlight a few of the procedural rules and one of our ethics rules just for folks to keep those fresh in their minds. The first one just has to do with what we just did, which with communications from the governing body. I think last time I had gotten a question, I just said like noted basically, but I just wanted to explain that. And that's because under communications from the governing body, it says any business or comments from the governing body members, and then governing body members shall not engage in debate with other members or ask questions of staff. Members may request information from the city manager, city attorney, or city clerk, but discussion of the request during a meeting is not permitted without appropriately noticing it. So that's why I was kind of pausing in terms of a question. So I wanted to explain that. And then a couple other rules I think are just worth revisiting. So that the one I just read is on page 13. It's number 14 on page 13 in terms of it describing our agenda. Then on page 18, this is under rules of debate and governing body rules for speaking. So 17 to 18, there's a few things. 17 or A-B or part A-1B just speaks to avoiding repeating statements of others and straying off topics. I think that's something to just be keeping in mind. And on page 18, avoiding personal attacks and making sure to use I statements and avoid stating or attempting to state the sentiments or motives of others, including but not limited to any staff member or any governing body member or the governing body as a whole. And actually, I remember one of the governing body members recently just said, I, and I think that was a a good example of using that rule in the way it's intended to be, which is we each know what our own sentiments are, but we might not know what the group's sentiments are or anyone else appearing in front of us. And then the ethics rule that I did want to highlight does relate to workplace bullying by governing body members. And whereas the governing body rules are enforced by the governing body and they're your own to help the chair enforce, the ethics rules are enforced by the Ethics and Campaign Review Board, which is an independent body of the city. And that says the governing body member shall not intentionally bully any public employee, including the city manager, city attorney, or city clerk. For purposes of this paragraph, workplace bullying means intentional behavior intended to create an abusive work environment for a public employee or public employees. Bullying behavior is behavior in the workplace that a reasonable person would find hostile, offensive, and not obviously related to the city of Santa Fe's legitimate business interests. Workplace bullying includes, but is not limited to the following: use of disrespectful and devaluing language, persistent or constant criticism in front of other persons, including coworkers, vendors, contractors, or members of the public, for the purpose of humiliating an employee. Behavior or language that frightens, humiliates, belittles, or degrades, including criticism that is delivered with yelling and screaming. Threats and intimidation, including threats to discipline or terminate a public employee. I think it's useful to refer back to that. That's one of the very specific provisions in our ethics code about the relationship between the governing body and staff. There's not very many of them, but that's one of the extremely explicit ones. And then the final thing is, I do recommend that we go into executive session for discussion of pending or threatened litigation, specifically Union Protectiva versus City of Santa Fe and Mayor Alan Weber. And this is for attorney-client privilege discussion regarding threatened and pending litigation in which the City of Santa Fe is or may become a participant pursuant to section 10-15-1, part H7, attorney-client privilege discussion.
Thank you. Councilor Rivera, can I ask you to make a motion, please?
Sure. I move that we enter an executive session pursuant to the Open Meetings Act, section 10-15-1H, subpart 7, for discussion of threatened or pending litigation in which the governing body is or may become a participant.
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. Madam Clerk, can you call the roll on that, please?
Certainly, Mayor. Councilwoman Villarreal,
Yes.
Counselor Cassett,
Yes.
Counselor Chavez,
Yes.
Counselor Lee Garcia,
Yes.
Counselor Michael Garcia,
Yes.
Counselor Lindell, Counselor Rivera,
Yes.
Counselor Romero Worth,
Yes.
Mayor Weber,
Yes.
motion passed.
Thank you. We will go into executive session and be back after we finish that discussion. I appreciate everybody's patience. We'll be back as soon as we finish that work. Madam Clerk, are we still streaming live from New York? It's Saturday night. Are we streaming?
He's gonna go set it up.
I asked the wrong person. You can redirect that question. Oh, that is good.
Okay, we're ready.
We're good. I am gaveling us back into order and I am recognizing Counselor Rivera for a motion, sir, if you will.
Pursuant to the Open Meetings Act, section 10-15-1J, I move that the governing body reconvene in open session and state for the record that the matters discussed in the closed session were limited to those specified in the motion for closure.
There's a second. Is there a discussion? Madam Clerk, could you call the roll?
Yes, Mayor. Counselor Cassett,
Yes.
Counselor Chavez,
Yes.
Counselor Lee Garcia,
Yes.
Counselor Michael Garcia,
Yes.
Counselor Lindell, Counselor Rivera,
Yes.
Counselor Romero Worth,
Yes.
Councilwoman Villarreal,
Yes.
Mayor Weber,
Yes.
motion passed.
Thank you, ma'am. If you would then take us to the next item on our agenda, which I believe is 16A. I could be right, but does that sound right?
14.
14.
Matters from the city clerk.
Ah, that's you. I accidentally jumped over you.
I actually just want to bring up the Regal Park turf ribbon cutting. Alex, put that on your calendar. That'll be Sunday, October 22nd at 12 PM. And immediately after the ribbon cutting, there will be a movie in the park.
What's the movie?
It's gonna be a baseball movie. I don't think Alex has narrowed it down yet, but it'll be a
Sandlot?
baseball movie.
Field of Dreams? We got a bidding war breaking out here. It can't be Field of Dreams. It could be Turf of Dreams.
That might work.
See what I just did there? Okay, anything else, Madam Clerk?
Just also, you should have received in your inbox the Affordable Housing 2023 accomplishments, and that is also on the Affordable Housing website. And that's it.
Great. And if anybody didn't get it in their inbox, that would come back, they would ask you for it.
Absolutely.
Thank you, ma'am. Very good help. Now, I'm closer to being correct.
Now we're going to 16, which is introduction of legislation.
Okay, if you could guide us through that, please.
16A is consideration of a resolution sponsored by Mayor Alan Weber. It's a resolution establishing the city of Santa Fe's priorities for consideration by the New Mexico State Legislature during the 57th Legislature, State of New Mexico, first session 2024.
And thank you. I think we're all familiar with this process, and this is getting ourselves ready to go for our legislative requests in the upcoming session.
Okay, 16B is consideration of bill number 2023-24, sponsored by Councilor Sidney Lindell. It's a bill amending SFCC 1987, section 14-5.2 to authorize the Historic District Review Board to approve additional exceptions, including exceptions for signs and murals, and to remove certain administrative requirements for land use staff approvals and disapprovals of signs and murals.
Counselor Lindell, you introduced it.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I've worked with Ms. Lamboy some and Marcy in the city attorney's office. If we can pass this, it means we will not be hearing all of these exceptions that come to us. And perhaps Ms. Lamboy would like to make a comment on it. And thank you for working with me on this. As always, it was a pleasure.
Not allowed. No, just you. You have to,
Mayor Weber, now I'm like double thinking here.
you have to channel.
Hold on.
I can't-
Is this the right time for staff to involve? I know the council do.
Quick check of the rules.
Sorry.
Hold that thought.
We don't always do the staff presentation, so
Yeah, I'm not familiar with it. Maybe you could.
If anyone finds it before me, please feel free to.
Counselor Lindell withdraws the offer. We'll get you back up here in a minute. Could you take us to the next item, please?
Yes, Mayor. The next item is 20 public hearings, and 28 is 2023-006938 HDRB 613 Canyon Road Units C1 and C2, Downtown and East Side Historic District, contributing Hoops and Associates Architects agent for Canyon Room Holdings. Owner proposes to reconstruct both entry portals on a primary facade, the exterior door, sill heights, re-roof, replace canales, install rooftop HVAC with screening, and construct a yard wall. An exception is requested to section 14-5.2D5B to remove historic materials. And the staff person is Lanny McCauley.
Thank you. Before we go to staff, let me just remind everybody what our process is tonight. We'll begin with opportunity for anyone who wants to recuse themselves because they have had ex parte communications or they cannot be fair or impartial. Fair and impartial. Then we'll go to the staff report for up to 20 minutes, hopefully less. And then the applicant can be sworn and make a statement, public comment, questions by the governing body. We'll close the public hearing at that point, move to a motion and a second with discussion, and finally we'll go to a roll call vote. So with that as our process, let's begin with the staff report.
Thank you.
Not sure your mic's on, however.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
I have a presentation actually. You got it? Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Councilors. This is case number 2023-006938 HDRB for 613 Canyon Road, units C1 and C2, to remodel a contributing structure, including removing historic materials on a primary facade. The governing body is being asked to provide one motion to either approve or deny the request for an exception to remove historic material on a contributing building. Next slide, please. The property is located at Canyon and Camino Escondido. Though it is not the corner lot, it is L-shaped and has street frontage on both roads. The structure being discussed is the duplex located in the center of the property where the red circle is on these images. In 2018, in a status review of the property, the HDRB decided to retain the contributing status of the duplex. Next slide, please. At the hearing, both the east and west facades were designated as primary, which includes the spaces underneath the portals located on the east facade. This image of the east facade and the two portals where the historic materials will be removed. The duplex is a 1,083 square foot building constructed in the Spanish Pueblo Revival style. The building was constructed prior to 1950. Its distinguishing characteristics are the rounded and stepped parapets, the chimneys, and the portals. Next slide, please. During previously approved interior work of the duplex, a rotten wood floor joist and non-code conforming crawl space were discovered, and both the 35 square foot entry portals on the east elevation showed rotten wood, which no longer supports the weight of the adobe roofs, which are now pitching forward, causing cracks in the adobe wall between the portal and structure walls. This also causes the existing flashing and old asphalt roofs to be exposed. Next slide, please. Therefore, the applicant proposes to rebuild both entry portals with an additional new dark rusty brown colored ribbed metal roofing. The portal's roof slope, parapet, lattice ceiling, beams, corbels, viga column, and proportions will remain as currently seen. A metal gutter will be installed at the wood fascia to match the metal roofing color. The applicant will also lower the interior floor by approximately 6 inches and install an interior floor slab, thereby lowering all 4 exterior doors by about 6 inches. That will also eliminate the concrete pad under the portal. All door and window head heights and openings will remain as existing. Additional work not related to the exception was also approved by the Historic Districts Review Board. Next slide, please. The applicant did address the exception criteria as required, and the Historic Districts Review Board agreed with the responses, noting that removal and replacement of the wood elements in kind will retain the appearance of the historic structure while providing stability for continued use, and will preserve the unique character of the primary facade of the structure, and that the replacement is required to prevent further deterioration of the portal and damage to the main portion of the residence for public safety concerns. Therefore, the Historic Districts Review Board recommends approval to the governing body of the exception request to remove historic material in the downtown and east side historic district for 613 Canyon Road in case 2023-6938 HDRB.
Thank you.
I stand for.
That's very good. Is there someone here, the applicant or the applicant's agent who wants to come forward and make a presentation at this time? I think we're gonna swear the speaker in, please.
Charles William Rosenberg, 333 Montezuma Ave, Santa Fe, New Mexico, 87501.
Swear that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Yes, sir, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have nothing to add. I think Ms. McCauley has described the situation pretty well. We had a unanimous vote from the H board, the group, what we suggested, or regarding removing the historic material. It was a life safety issue. You know, they're the entry portals to these duplexes, and they were just unsafe.
Terrific. I assume that you just stopped because you were done.
Correct.
Thank you. We're not going to ask you questions quite yet. At this time, we will go to sworn public comment and testimony. There may be someone here in the room, or there may be somebody on Zoom who would like to speak to this this case, in which instance we would swear them in and take their sworn testimony.
If the attendees on Zoom will raise your hand, I'll call your name. No virtual hands have been raised.
Thank you. Anyone else in the room who wishes to speak on this issue, now would be the time to come forward. If not, I would then turn it over to the governing body. If anyone has questions of either the applicant's agent or the staff, I'll recognize you for questions. If there are no questions, I would then close the public hearing and entertain a motion on this case.
Move to approve.
Second.
The motion to approve and a second. Is there discussion of that motion? Madam Clerk, can you call the roll?
Certainly, Mayor. Counselor Chavez.
Yes.
Counselor Lee Garcia.
Yes.
Counselor Michael Garcia.
Yes.
Counselor Lindell.
Yes.
Counselor Rivera. Counselor Romero Worth.
Yes.
Councilwoman Villarreal.
Yes.
Counselor Cassett.
Yes.
Mayor Weber.
Yes,
Motion passed.
thank you. Thanks, everybody, for being here.
You.
Madam Clerk, do you want to take us to the next public hearing, please?
Yes, Mayor, that is 20B. It's 2023-006858 HDRB for Plaza Fatima, 2023-006858 HDRB for Plaza Fatima, Downtown and East Side Historic District, non-contributing, Devendra and contractor, agent for Anthony and Jan Jeffries, owners, proposes to reconstruct the south elevation primary facade wall, which requires an exception to 14-5.2D5B to remove historic material, remodel to include window, door, roof replacement, HVAC, and skylight installation. And we have Senior Planner Ramon Sarson to present.
Thank you. Before we begin, I will once again go through the process. If anyone needs to recuse themselves because they can't be fair and impartial, or they've had ex parte communications, please do that now. We'll go to the staff report, the testimony of the applicant or the applicant's agent, public comment, questions by the governing body, then we'll close the public hearing, entertain a motion, discussion, and finally then a debate. With that, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and governing body. Just as a point of clarification, this is a contributing building. This is case 2023-6858 HDRB for Plaza Fatima. The image that you're looking at now is the historic cultural inventory property form dated from 1984. The structure was built in the 1920s. The status of the structure again is contributing to the downtown and east side historic district. The historic district's review board ruled the property retain its contributing status and the east and south facades be designated as primary and the outer wall be designated as contributing. And I have the next slide, Madam Clerk. There we go. Or Plaza Fatima is on its own road, and that road is shown here in yellow, and it's bounded by Delgado Street to the east and Garcia Street to the west. The property itself is outlined in red. Please continue. This aerial photo gives an idea of how the structure is kind of nestled into its site. Okay. The residence is mostly obscured from public view by vegetation and site walls, and it's highlighted here in red. Now the applicant proposes the following exterior alterations and an exception to 14-5.2D5B to remove historic material. This work includes demolition and removal and reconstruction of the existing south primary facade, a full roof replacement, a new roof in the kitchen area, installation of a mini split HVAC. The condenser unit will be on the east side of the existing structure, isolated from neighbors by the existing adobe yard wall. There's some new hardscaping, additional landscaping that includes some concrete work. New windows and doors will be Colby Heritage Series wood windows with true divided lights. All finishes will match the existing structure in color and texture. This is the primary east elevation with the window to be replaced behind the tree that's kind of obscuring it right now. A window assessment has been attached to your submittal package. This is the south primary facade, which is where much of the post work is to take place and is not publicly visible. The existing site plan is on the left and the proposed is on the right, and the footprint of the structure will remain the same. In this slide, you'll see the existing floor plan on the left and the proposed on the right. The proposed includes relocation of the entrance door and window modifications. Above is the existing south elevation. The city of Santa Fe building inspector determined that this facade is structurally unstable and should be reconstructed. Below is the proposed south elevation with the modifications to the entrance doors and windows. The Historic Districts Review Board recommends approval to the governing body of the exception for this request. Staff finds that all exception criteria have been met and it complies with 14-5.2D general design standards for all age districts. 14-5.2E downtown and east side historic district and 14-5.2C regulation of significant and contributing structures in the historic districts. One motion will be required for this case to either approve or deny the request for an exception.
Very good. Is there someone here to speak on behalf of the applicant or the applicant's agent?
It's my understanding that the applicant's agent is online.
Oh, we have a applicant's agent zooming in.
Mr. Hayek, I will allow you to speak.
You need to swear. Witness.
Mr. Hayek, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Excellent.
I will swear you in. Can you please raise your right hand and state your name and address?
My name is Teddy Hike. I live at 1564 Canyon Road, Santa Fe.
Do you swear that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Just for the record, we're not able to see the witness. We only hear the witness. I don't know if there's a camera that needs to be enabled or this is the way the
the Zoom is different here for live feeds. I don't have an option to turn on my camera or anything.
Not a problem.
Yeah. Thank you, Mayor and councilors, for the opportunity to speak. Ramon, thank you for all your hard work in bringing the case before them. Just want to reiterate the urgency to reconstruct this south wall and make this house safe and usable again. There are some great photographs that Ramon didn't include in the presentation that show vines growing through the adobe wall, and the adobe wall does not appear to have any footing. So it's pretty urgent that this wall get repaired and built to contemporary strength and code, and the house made usable again so that it can be and continue to be a part of the historic fabric of Santa Fe.
Very good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Public comment. Is there anyone on Zoom or here in the room who wishes to testify at this public hearing? There a hand up?
Yes, Mayor, there is Stephanie Benenato.
Please swear her in.
Ms. Benenato, if you'd please raise your hand and state your right hand, state your name and your address.
Stephanie Benenato, District 2.
Do you swear that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm really, I see the need for having or reconstructing the south wall. I don't see the need to change the way the configuration of the windows and doors are. It would still allow access to a living room. It definitely allows quite a bit of light. And it's really very characteristic of this house. Whether it has walls or can be seen, it is a primary facade. It doesn't say it's okay to change it if you can't see it in the ordinance. and vegetation can die. It can be pulled out because it's getting to the now non-existent foundation, but under the floor. And so eventually vegetation gets removed or dies. And that too is not a reason to allow something. So I would ask you, yes, to allow, of course, that the primary facade be reconstructed with foundation, the roof be redone, all of that. I do appreciate that the applicant is not trying to enlarge the footprint, which many people on Plaza Fatima have, and have really changed the character of that little area. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wants to testify on this case? Are there questions by the members of the governing body for the staff, the applicant, or the witness who testified? If not, I will close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
There's a motion to approve. There's a second. Is there discussion? Madam Clerk, can you call the roll, please?
Yes, Mayor. Counselor Lee Garcia,
Yes.
Counselor Michael Garcia,
Yes.
Counselor Lindell, Counselor Rivera, Counselor Romero Worth,
Yes.
Councilwoman Villarreal,
Yes.
Counselor Cassett,
Yes.
Counselor Chavez, Mayor Weber,
Yes,
motion passed.
thank you. Thank you for being here. Could you take us to the next item, Madam Clerk?
Yes, Mayor, the next item is 21, which is appointments. It's appointment to the Mayor's Committee on Disability to appoint Gina Marie Opalescent for a term ending January of 2027.
There a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve, and there is a second. Is there a discussion? Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Yes, Mayor. Counselor Michael Garcia,
Yes.
Counselor Lindell, Counselor Rivera,
Yes.
Counselor Romero Worth,
Yes.
Councilwoman Villarreal,
Yes.
Counselor Cassett,
Yes.
Counselor Chavez,
Yes.
Counselor Lee Garcia,
Yes.
Mayor Weber,
Yes,
motion passed.
thank you. And with that, our business for this evening is completed and we are adjourned. Thanks, everybody. And thanks for greeting.